G'day. Welcome to Endurance Room. When somebody says survival, what kind of things come to your mind? Knives, food, skills, different gear. What about clothing? Because your clothing is your first line of defense. As far as survival goes, your list of priorities is oxygen, fresh air, and then thermoregulation. So you're not too hot, you're not too cold. Then you worry about things like shelter, fire, purifying water, making a signal fire, navigation. That's kind of like what we focus on a lot, but you know, your clothing is extremely important, especially when you start getting into more extreme environments or you're outside for longer periods of time. Your clothing should be able to accommodate you outside in basically any weather, without a shelter, without a fire, for a minimum of 3 days. You know, understanding how to put your clothing together for the environment that you're in will let you do that. So you want to consider a couple things when you're putting it together. You want to consider what kind of weather you're going to get. Is it raining, snowing, freezing rain? The temperatures, what's the highs, what's the lows? For us, the last 2 weeks, we've had temperatures that went from the 40s to the negative 20s. You know, pretty crazy spread. Lastly, you want to consider your activity. What are you going to be doing? Because that's going to change your clothing needs. If you're hiking with your backpack, you're going to need to have less layers on than if you're sitting around camp. Let me throw my tarp up real quick, and then we can talk a bit more about putting our layers together. Let's talk layers. When I'm thinking about clothing for the woods, I like to consider a 3-tiered approach, with the first tier being the base layer. That's going to be what's next to the skin. The second tier would be the mid or insulating layers, and you can have as many as you need according to the weather. And then the third tier would be your outer layer, your shell. Like this layer 5 Demi-Season suit here. You know, a Gorka is also an example of a shell. Basically, it's your outer layer of clothing. And it's designed to protect you from the elements, your environment. You know, this suit, it gives camouflage and all the pockets. It lets you put your survival gear around the suit. It's relatively comfortable, breathable, and water resistant. That's what you're looking for in a shell. And then all the mid layers and under layers, that's just designed to give you insulation and make it warmer, or you know, take them away and be cooler as the weather changes. That's the whole concept in a nutshell. To give you guys an example of how I dress for today, this is my layer 5 Demi-Season pants. Underneath this, I've got some fleece long johns on, so they're a little bit padded for better insulation, nice and warm. I've got 2 pairs of wool socks, and that's my lower layers. For my upper body, I have an athletic t-shirt on. It's synthetic, doesn't absorb water, so if you're sweating, it'll have the effect of transferring it up to your mid layers away from your skin, which ideally keeps you warmer. For my second layer, I've got a long sleeve thermal t-shirt. My third layer is a fleece sweater. Now, typically, if I'm doing a lot of work around camp or I'm hiking, I've got my backpack on, this and then my jacket over top of it is pretty much all I need. My fourth layer is called the Puffy Layer. This is a down jacket. It's made by a company called Hardland. It's really warm, really light, and you can compact it down into a little tiny ball that'll fit in a cargo pocket. You can use it as a pillow at night. Really awesome coat. I have been carrying this for the last couple of months in my pack. It's just an extra insulation layer. Really nice jacket. And then over top of it all will be your shell, your outer layer. This is a layer 5 Demi-Season suit from Russian Cold Camo. This suit is meant for 60-degree weather. The material's light, it's breathable, it's water resistant, it's not waterproof, but here I am in the Adirondacks in the middle of winter, sitting down in the snow, and I'm totally comfortable because I've got the right amount of layers on underneath. And that right there is the whole beauty of having a layered clothing system. because it lets you get the most amount of use out of your clothing, preserving your body's core temperature. And in survival, that is priority number one, outside of oxygen. I hope this helps. I hope it gives you some ideas. You can apply it with your own clothing, your own gear. If you want to check out some of the stuff that I'm using, I've got some links down below. All right, everybody. I hope you're good, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.